Peace and love, everybody. King coming back with another conversation for y'all. Today, I want to talk about situations where people, like in relationships, like man and woman, um, or just like friendships. A lot of times, relationships don't work out because people are still trying to get to know themselves and not comfortable with who they are as individuals. So anytime you engage in a relationship with somebody else, whatever inner conflict that you might have with being comfortable with yourself is going to spill over into that relationship. So whether it be friendships or just regular friendships between, homeboys and girls, or relationship between man and woman. But I'm specifically touching base on man and woman. Things that I've seen other people go through, things that I've experienced in my own life. A lot of times people come into relationships with a lot of emotional baggage from childhood, from past hurts that they've been in relationships with other people, and they never got a chance. They never gave themselves a chance to properly heal from those past hurts, from their childhood neglect or abuses or past relationships that they've been in. And so when they enter into these new relationships, they enter in damaged, like damaged goods. They enter in, not 100%, not completely content within themselves. So my thing is, if you can't live with yourself, then you can't live with anybody else. And I'm not necessarily talking about a physical space of cohabitation, because that's, in theory, you don't have to be under the same roof with somebody to actually live with them. What I mean by live with somebody is, if especially if you're a couple, if you got a girl and y'all solid, or y'all trying to be solid, you might not live with her physically in the same household, but you live with her in mind, body, and spirit. What I mean by that is, when she has a problem or when you have a problem, usually y'all the primary sources for each other's emotional support. So if one person has more emotional baggage than the other, far more emotional baggage than the other, then one person in that relationship is going to get worn out psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, because we all come into relationships with our own stuff. Some of us carry many bags, some of us carry a couple of bags. Some of us deal with our stuff on our own. Some of us are codependent on our partner to always rescue us. So my thing is, people have to start taking inventory of themselves and getting themselves together mentally, spiritually, psychologically, so they can enter in relationships healthy and not be a burden on the next person. Because if you can't live with yourself, how could you expect someone else to be able to live with you? Some people don't like their physical appearance. Some people just don't like their lives, period. They don't like their jobs. They don't like their parents. They might love them, but they don't like them. They don't like their parents. They don't like their siblings. So all of these things, or they've been through things in other relationships, females with dudes, and dudes been through things with certain women, so they carry these scars. into relationships without they're embarking on new relationships without giving themselves the proper time to heal and recover and become whole. So my thing is, when we engage or embark on relationships, let's make sure that we are doing the work that needs to be done on ourselves so we can be right for ourselves and for that next person that we're expecting to share their lives with us and share our lives with them. If your life comes like a bag of bricks instead of light as a feather, how could you expect somebody to stick around and deal with that? I was just in the barbershop speaking to a young brother yesterday evening, and he was saying, he's a teacher. He's, got a good profession. Seemed like a cool, level-headed brother, and he was saying how his lady is, you know, no matter what, she's always picking fights with him. There's always an argument over nothing. You know, they've been together 7 years. He can't go anywhere without her monitoring him because of the things that she's been through in previous relationships. So from what he said, he's never cheated on her. He's faithful. He comes home on time. He does his thing as a man. He's diligent with paying the bills and giving her respect as his lady, but he's not reciprocating what he's putting out. So basically, in my opinion, from what he said, I didn't hear her side of the story. He came into the relationship whole, and she came in with some baggage, and that she never resolved. So now that baggage is his because they live together. When you can't have peace of mind in your own home as a man, that's a real bad situation. Apparently, this is a person that has not learned to live with themselves. So when someone's uncomfortable with themselves, there's going to be constant turmoil. Where there's nothing wrong, they're going to find something wrong. They're going to nitpick and nag. And it's not just females. Dudes do this too. You got dudes out there that have excess extra estrogen or just emotional issues that they never resolved. Dude was telling me he could be home with his lady and they watch it Love and Hip Hop, and she sees scenarios on the show and she just fits him into the script. Oh, you see, that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't be in that type of situation because that's what could happen. Or basically blaming him for things that characters on the television did, things that he's never done to her. So it's very important for us to come into relationships whole. None of us are 100% perfect. We're not always going to be right, but come into a relationship doing the work on yourself, and don't come in with these excess expectations of the other person that you don't put on yourself. We got to do the work in order to have healthy, prosperous, lasting relationships. Peace and love. King signing out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my page. Love y'all.